Like, as an example, how would you feel if you decided to get remarried, right? You find a strapping young gentleman, single father, doing real well, you're really happy, and then he's kind of and he ends up divorcing you because you're an investor in the crypto space and you got all the money and you have to pay him alimony. How would you feel about that?
So like there's zero chance that I would get married without a prenup.
But even with a prenup, right? Well, he's like the prenup will protect your assets before the marriage, but afterwards you guys have built something together, right? And obviously, like, so the dumbest thing you could do is getting married at the peak of a bull or at the bottom of a bull market because your assets are just going to appreciate so much and you're going to buy more of them and stuff. And then on top of that, you're a hardworking woman and stuff, right? So your income, it doesn't matter what the guy you're going to meet, like during a bull market, you're going to cuck him out financially so fucking bad that like there's no hope for this man. And this is also another reason why, like, if we're just talking about straight investments, now I really agree for crypto for like women, especially if they're single moms or something like that, or like, or they decide not to have a family. There's, whatever the case issue, or they have to be the breadwinner. There's some women that like they're the only working female in the family and stuff, and they have to take care of their parent. There's some really sad instances. There really is, like, that's why like I have no problem teaching anybody about crypto. But the more money you make, the harder it is for you to find a man.
Yeah.
Right? Unless your looks are also on that level. If you're a 10 making 10 money, you're still gonna find a dude, right? But like the richer you get, the harder it is for you to settle down with a guy. You still can get laid, of course. Like, of course, women. Like, and there's the other side of the argument too, where like, if a guy decides to lower his standards low enough, as a guy, like if you really wanted to get laid, you can get laid as a guy, but you're fucking like snaggletooths out here. It's bad out here in the streets. But yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, like I feel like this is the thing that like I know that a lot of people, especially in the red pill community, are really like, there's no upside to marriage for a man, right?
Right.
But like, I don't know. Like, I understand the logic behind that, but I think that the counter argument is that the upside is in the security that provides for your partner. Like, because your your wife wants to feel secure and protected, and
But that's when they get that fucking attitude. On top of that, that's when the woman in your life gets a fucking attitude because they feel like, oh, I don't have to compete anymore. Now I can be fucking lazy. And then this is where problems start. And then this is where you start getting these fucking, like, I would damn near call this like, I would call this like almost CTE for men and stuff, because the women are just berating them day and night and stuff because, fuck, I have to be on eggshells around my wife because this fucking chick's gonna fucking leave my ass. Like, you said it yourself. There's no reason to get married. Like, I think marriage is beautiful. I'm Catholic. I'm full on Catholic. Everything, fucking baptism, first communion, confirmation, everything. The only thing left to me is the anointment of death. That's it. I'm full Catholic, right? Mm-hmm. But I think I really,
the sex before marriage part, right?
Yeah. Well, that what depends on that's not really even that pushed that hard, really, even in Catholicism. But it's mostly the sex of Christianity and stuff, and that's a whole fucking rabbit hole right there, right? But and then tell that to all the fuck. Anyway, and then if you go back far enough, right? Shit, like Catholicism, depending on where they've conquered and gone into, they've warped their religion into it and stuff like that. Yeah. So, like, I used to have a before I had a Rolex. I used to have a rosary around my wrist and stuff that I had around my wrist for about 15, 16 years. Right. And it had beads on it. The only reason they had beads on it is because Catholicism went into certain areas where there was Buddhists and stuff, and they had decided, well, how can we integrate these guys a little easier into the religion? Let's add beads around the rosaries and stuff, so they can, like, oh, this is not completely different. Okay, let me like, this is what I'm talking about, is the religion.
Well, it's why Christmas is celebrated in December. It's why there are eggs.
They're pagan fucking holidays.
Yeah.
Before Krista, who was Mithra? Before Jesus Christ, who was Mithra? Who was Krista? Who was the first to be baptized, crucified, and resurrected? Brought up to be a martyr. It's this whole thing of like literally like Jesus Christ is like, there's two different versions of him beforehand in ancient religions, all the way to Babylon. Like, you know, I know we're getting a little conspiratorial here, but all things aside, right? But I do think traditionally it's beautiful, right? Because the best opportunity, the best place in the world for a child to grow up in is a 2-parent household, a mom and a dad and a child.
Definitely.
Boom, beautiful, right?
Definitely. The nuclear family is like, yeah.
The backbone of fucking society. And like, let me tell you this, right? So, and I say like, and I've had quite a lot of YouTubers, like, because I've said this in the red pill space, people have heard it and stuff. I said the biggest Ponzi, the everything's a Ponzi, right? I think we kind of learned we kind of learned this from Richard a little bit, but we've expanded it out to be like, you know, everything's a Ponzi, right? Well, the biggest Ponzi is the population Ponzi, right? Is that our economies are basically based off of GDP and everything like that. So we need to the more humans we have in our country, the more if we have more babies than we have debt dead people, then we have old people. Our economy is booming. We're strong. All like if you look at Social Security or anything like that, the stock market, it's all a Ponzi based off of there's going to be all these dumb 18-year-olds to 40-year-olds are going to buy up all the stocks so I can retire off their work, right? So there is like right now, like America is like at maintenance to below maintenance, and we are we are at the tip of the pyramid when it comes to developed nations in terms of demography right now. So right now, you know, we're like 300 million plus people in the United States, right? Where the average, I think the birth rate right now is maybe like 1.8. So the average couple is having 1.8 kids, which is below maintenance, and we're going down. But we're at the peak of the pyramid. China is in full collapse. Like China's population is going to collapse by 50% in the next 20, 30 years.
Yeah, it's like Sweden and Denmark for probably 10 years have been paying people to have kids. They've been like, they've even started like a website to match up single people so that like not for marriage purposes, but just for population purposes.
Yeah. I mean, and it's the best thing you could do. Like, I could fix the economy right now. If if the average couple had 3 kids, one to replace you, one to replace your husband, and one for the economy, we would be metro booming right now. The economy would be we would be at somewhere between a 5 to 8% GDP growth. The reason that there was like the baby boomers, right? Why the economy expanded so much after World War II is everyone came back, had a bunch of fucking kids, and the economy exploded. We were the fucking powerhouse of the world. Afterwards, we still are and stuff, but militarily, of course. But it's because we had all these kids, right? Like, I mean, if my generation, the millennial generation, is just slight. I think we're 5% bigger than the boomer generation. Just barely. And like one thing that's not being talked about right now is that basically 40% of millennial women are not going to have kids. They're going to be single cat ladies. That's real. Mostly on the older side of the millennial women. Mostly on some of the younger girls, because like I'm 32 right now. I think the youngest millennial woman right now would be 26 or 27 right now. Right? So the 40 fucking % of the millennial women are not going to have kids. So what's going to happen with guys like me and other people? Like, I feel really bad for the next generations, but basically the higher percentile of the millennial men are going to fucking basically take all the fucking women from the Zoomers.
And but I mean, is that changing with Zoomers? Are they more likely to have kids than millennials?
It's looking like they're probably they're much more conservative. Yes. Zoomers are more conservative because same thing. Like I have a brother, my Kylo Tren. He's like 21. He just started helping me with my show and stuff. I sent his ass back to California for the weekend. but he's 21 and stuff like that. And they're much more conservative and stuff. But basically the younger generation saw like him, right? He's a Zoomer. He saw like I didn't fuck up my life in with the bad divorce and all this other crap, but there's kids just like Kyle and stuff that saw their older brothers get divorce raped and saw all this stuff happen to them, and they're like, I ain't gonna let that shit happen to me. And so this is why like we're starting to see less and less marriages. We're starting to see all this stuff, but you still need to have kids, right? This is the thing. Like what's gonna keep America strong is basically everyone remembering that we need to have children. Right? Because imagine this shit. Like you and me, everybody in the chat right now, all 200 people watching right now, right? You guys are the descendants of thousands and thousands of people who successfully mated, right? So your grandma was successful in getting impregnated and having a child to have the next generation. Your grandfather was a Chad out here, 10,000 Chads that ended up having children, and you decided to be the retard that says, I'm ending it right here. I've decided, haram, no more.
Yeah, no, I've said that before to people who were like really against having kids. It was like, that's really horrible for your parents. Like, you're just saying, like, yeah, life sucks. I don't want to continue. Like, wow, that's like, what a slap in the face to your parents.
Yeah, Hugh Hefner in the chat. I got 13 baby mamas doing wonders for the economy. Yeah, of course, right? But shout out to Nick Cannon. But it is. I mean, it is the shout out to anyone who has it. I did my part. Yes, 43 OG baby, man. He's got 3 kids. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful. But it is this whole thing that we've forgotten that like there's this whole global agenda to depopulize the world. What a crock of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh my God, the world's heating up. Lies. Oh my God, like everything that now deforestation, that's real, of course. Like, yeah, we are like there's certain things that are real, but like there's a lot of lies. Like the reason they want to depopulate the planet is because it's easier to control a smaller amount of people. The technology has gotten better.
Yeah.
Why? Like if you take all humans, every fucking human on this planet, you could fit them in the state of Texas.